Have you ever wondered if simply following your doctor's advice is enough to keep you healthy after 70? I used to think so too. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that aging isn't just about what the doctor says. It's about understanding the changes happening in your body, staying proactive, and taking control of your own well-being. From making smarter health decisions to staying active and mentally sharp, I've learned that small, intentional choices can mean the difference between just aging and truly thriving. In this video, I'll share the realities of aging, bust a few myths, and show you how to take practical steps to live vibrantly in your golden years. Let me know where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more wisdom-packed advice. Now, let me share why we can't rely solely on doctors' advice as we age. 1. Proactive aging. It's more than just doctor's orders. When I turned 70, I thought I was doing everything right, seeing my doctor regularly, following their advice, and taking my medications as prescribed. But the more I learned, the more I realized that no single doctor can give you a complete picture of your health. Doctors are often trained to specialize in one area, whether it's the heart, the lungs, or the digestive system. That's helpful when you need focused treatment, but it also means they might overlook how different parts of your body work together, especially as you age. I've learned that relying solely on medical advice can sometimes lead to decisions that don't serve your overall health. For example, a specialist might recommend surgery for a specific issue, but that surgery could have side effects that make it harder for you to stay active or independent. It's not that doctors are wrong, it's that they're focused on their field and they may not always see the big picture. That's why I've made it a priority to think critically about my health. Before agreeing to any treatment, I take the time to ask questions like, will this improve my overall quality of life? Or are there alternatives that are less risky? I've also started seeking second opinions when faced with major decisions. Consulting multiple specialists has helped me weigh the pros and cons of different options and make choices that align with my long-term well-being. For example, a friend of mine, Susan, was recently diagnosed with a heart condition. Her cardiologist recommended surgery, but she wasn't sure it was the right choice for her. Susan decided to consult with a general internist and another cardiologist, both of whom suggested that medication and lifestyle changes might be just as effective for her situation. By educating herself and weighing all the options, Susan avoided an invasive procedure and found a path that worked better for her overall health. Taking control of your health doesn't mean ignoring your doctor's advice. It means being an active participant in your care, asking thoughtful questions, and educating yourself about the aging process. The more you understand your body, the more empowered you'll feel to make decisions that truly benefit your long-term well-being. As I see it, proactive aging is about more than just following orders. It's about understanding your own needs and making choices that let you thrive. At this stage of life, it's not just about adding more years to our lives. It's about adding more life to our years. When we take the time to reflect on what truly matters, our independence, our joy, our connection to others, it becomes clear that the best health decisions are those that honor the whole person, not just the symptoms. Aging is a journey, and the more intentional we are, the more rewarding it becomes. Now that we've talked about the importance of taking control of your health and thinking critically about medical advice, let's explore another key factor in aging, your diet. Specifically, we'll dive into the role of protein and why getting enough of it might be more important than you think as you grow older. 2. Protein power, fuel for staying strong. After 70. For much of my life, I believed what many of us are told. Eating less meat is the key to better health as we age. It sounds logical. After all, lighter meals feel easier to digest, and plant-based diets are often praised as the healthiest choice. But as I got older, I noticed something that surprised me. Cutting back on meat and protein-rich foods wasn't making me feel better. It was leaving me weaker, more tired, and less motivated. That's when I realized I needed to rethink how I was fueling my body. Protein isn't just important for young athletes or people trying to build muscle. It's critical for maintaining health, energy, and independence as we age. After 70, our bodies naturally lose muscle mass, a condition called sarcopenia. Without enough protein, this process speeds up, leading to weakness, slower recovery from illness, and even difficulty with everyday tasks like walking or carrying groceries. Yet many older adults, myself included at one point, don't get enough protein in their diets. I used to think I was eating well. I'd have a salad for lunch, maybe some soup for dinner, and plenty of vegetables throughout the day. But when I looked more closely, I realized I wasn't eating enough foods that truly nourished my muscles and energy levels. That's when I started making small but impactful changes. Instead of cutting out meat completely, I began adding moderate amounts of protein to my meals, chicken in my soup, beans in my salads, and occasionally a lean steak or a piece of fish. One of the easiest adjustments I made was incorporating protein into dishes I already loved. For example, I enjoy making hearty soups during the winter. By adding shredded chicken or even a scoop of lentils to my vegetable soup, I turned a light meal into one that kept me full and energized for hours. Another favorite of mine is a slow-cooked beef stew. It's comforting, delicious, and packed with protein that helps keep my muscles strong. Of course, protein doesn't always have to come from meat. Many of us worry about cholesterol or other health concerns, and that's where plant-based options can shine. Foods like lentils, chickpeas, tofu, and quinoa are fantastic sources of protein and can easily be worked into meals. I've found that a mix of both animal and plant-based proteins gives me the variety and balance I need. Take my neighbor Bill, for example. He's in his early 70s and loves to garden. A few years ago, he started feeling too tired to spend much time outdoors. After talking to his doctor and a nutritionist, Bill realized he wasn't eating enough protein. He started adding scrambled eggs to his breakfast, a turkey sandwich at lunch, and beans or chicken to his evening meals. Within a few months, Bill said he felt more energetic and even noticed it was easier to bend and move around in his garden. Eating enough protein isn't about piling your plate high with meat. It's about making thoughtful choices to fuel your body and maintain your strength. Whether it's a cup of Greek yogurt, a handful of nuts, or a serving of grilled fish, these small additions can make a big difference in how you feel day to day. As I've learned, the key is balance. Our bodies need variety, so finding the right combination of protein-rich foods that work for you is essential. And the benefits go beyond physical strength. When you feel energized and capable, it improves your mood, your confidence, and your ability to enjoy life. Getting older doesn't mean giving up on the foods you love or resigning yourself to feeling tired and weak. It means adapting and giving your body what it truly needs to thrive. With a little effort and intention, we can fuel our bodies in ways that keep us strong and ready to embrace whatever comes next. So, what's on your plate today? It might just hold the key to staying active and independent tomorrow. 3. Staying engaged. The key to mental vitality. I've always believed that staying active physically is important as you age, but I never realized how much mental engagement mattered until I started feeling it myself. There were days when I just didn't feel like doing anything. No energy, no motivation. I thought it was normal for someone my age. But what I didn't know was that my brain, like my body, needed its own kind of exercise to stay healthy and vibrant. As we get older, our serotonin levels naturally decline. Serotonin, often called the happiness hormone, helps regulate our mood, motivation, and sense of well-being. When it dips, it's easy to feel lethargic, unmotivated, or even a little lost. The less you feel like doing something, the easier it is to fall into a cycle of inactivity. And that's when both physical and mental health can start to decline. I experienced this firsthand after retiring. Without the routine of a job, I found myself spending more time sitting at home. I missed the social interactions, the purpose, and even the small everyday challenges that work brought. But instead of accepting this as a part of aging, I decided to make a change. I started by reigniting old hobbies and trying new ones. Painting, something I hadn't done since my 30s, became a way to express myself again. The next step was reconnecting with others. Isolation can creep up on you when you're not careful, and I realized how much I missed talking with people face to face. I joined a local book club that meets once a month, and it quickly became something I looked forward to. Sharing ideas, laughing together, and simply being part of a group reminded me how much social connection fuels happiness and motivation. One of the simplest but most impactful changes I made was spending more time outdoors. A friend of mine told me about the benefits of natural light for boosting mood and energy. So I started taking short walks every morning. I'd feel the sun on my face, breathe in the fresh air, and sometimes even strike up a conversation with neighbors. Those walks became a daily ritual that helped clear my mind and lift my spirits. Another friend, Carol, took a different approach. She began attending yoga classes at a nearby community center. It wasn't just the physical movement that helped her, it was the camaraderie and shared experiences with others her age. The friendships she built there encouraged her to try other activities like group hikes and volunteering at the local library. Staying engaged doesn't have to be complicated. It's about finding what lights you up, whether it's a creative pursuit, social activity, or simply spending time outside. These small, intentional actions not only improve your mental health, but also give you a sense of purpose. I've learned that staying mentally active isn't just about keeping the brain sharp, it's about feeding the soul. The motivation to engage with life often starts with a single step, like picking up a book, calling an old friend, or taking a short stroll in the sun. At the end of the day, staying engaged is about more than filling time. It's about finding joy, connection, and a reason to look forward to tomorrow. Because when your mind is alive and motivated, the rest of your life feels brighter too. Keep moving. Small steps for better health. When I hit my 70s, I started hearing a lot of advice about slowing down, taking it easy, and saving my energy. At first, it seemed like good advice. After all, our bodies aren't as resilient as they once were. But I quickly realized that doing less wasn't helping me feel better. In fact, the less I moved, the more I felt my body stiffen, my energy drop, and even my mood darken. That's when I understood that staying physically active wasn't just optional, it was essential. One thing I've learned is that inactivity accelerates aging in ways we don't always notice at first. When we stop moving regularly, our muscles weaken, our joints stiffen, and even our ability to balance starts to fade. This doesn't just affect how we feel physically, it affects our confidence and independence. Everyday tasks like climbing stairs or reaching for something on a high shelf become harder, and that can take a toll on our mental health too. I knew I needed to make a change, but the idea of starting a workout routine at my age felt overwhelming. So I decided to keep it simple and focus on light, regular activities. I started with short morning walks. At first, it was just a few blocks, but as I built up my stamina, those walks turned into a mile or more. I noticed that I felt more energized and my joints felt less stiff. Plus, being outside gave me a mental boost I hadn't expected. There's something about fresh air and the sound of birds that just lifts your spirits. One of my favorite examples of this is my neighbor, Frank. He's a retired teacher who began walking every morning after his doctor told him he was at risk for diabetes. Frank started small, walking around his block a few times, but now he's the most active person I know. He says those walks not only improved his health, but also gave him time to think, reflect, and even meet a few neighbors along the way. Beyond walking, I've also found that gentle stretching makes a big difference. I started incorporating a few simple stretches into my morning routine, and it's helped me stay flexible and reduce the aches and pains that used to bother me. On days when I have a little more energy, I spend time in my garden. Pulling weeds, planting flowers, and tending to my vegetables might not seem like much, but it keeps me moving, and I love the sense of accomplishment I feel afterward. The key to staying active isn't about doing intense workouts or pushing yourself too hard. It's about finding small, enjoyable ways to move every day. Whether it's walking, gardening, or even dancing around the living room to your favorite song, every little bit counts. I've come to see movement as a gift we give ourselves. It keeps us strong, independent, and connected to the world around us. And the best part? It's never too late to start. Even if you've been inactive for years, taking that first step, literally or figuratively, can make a world of difference. So, the next time you're tempted to sit and stay still, remind yourself of this. Motion is life. Every step, stretch, or minute spent moving helps you stay vibrant and ready to embrace whatever life has in store. 5. Aging is a new chapter, not the end. When I first started feeling the effects of aging, I'll admit, I was scared. The idea of becoming frail or dependent on others felt overwhelming. I wondered what it would mean for my independence and how I'd handle the challenges ahead. But over time, I realized that fear wasn't helping me. It was holding me back. What I needed was a new perspective on what it means to grow older. Aging isn't the end of the story. It's a new chapter. It's a time to reflect on everything we've learned, celebrate the lives we've built, and focus on the things that truly matter. I've found that when I shifted my mindset, I began to see aging as an opportunity, not just to slow down, but to connect more deeply with myself and others. One way I've embraced this stage of life is by celebrating milestones, big and small. I remember when I turned 75, I gathered my closest friends and family for a simple dinner. We shared stories, laughed, and looked back on the years we've spent together. It wasn't a grand event, but it was meaningful. That evening reminded me how important it is to honor where we've been while looking forward to what's still to come. Another way I've redefined aging is by focusing on my relationships. At this stage, I've realized that it's less about how many people I surround myself with and more about the quality of those connections. I've started prioritizing the relationships that bring me joy and fulfillment. For me, that's meant spending more time with my grandchildren, reconnecting with old friends, and deepening my bond with my partner. These relationships remind me that no matter how old we are, we all thrive on love, support, and shared experiences. My friend Margaret is a perfect example of this. She turned 80 last year and decided to write letters to everyone who had made a meaningful impact on her life. She told me it was one of the most rewarding things she'd ever done. She didn't just reflect on her past, she used it as a way to strengthen her connections in the present. That kind of intentional living is what I aspire to. Of course, there are still moments when I feel the weight of aging, the aches, the slower pace, the occasional need to rely on others. But I've learned to accept these changes as part of the natural flow of life. Instead of resisting them, I try to focus on what I can still do and how I can continue to grow. Aging gracefully isn't about pretending we're the same as we were decades ago. It's about embracing who we are now, imperfections and all, and finding joy in the possibilities of this stage of life. Whether it's pursuing a new hobby, reconnecting with loved ones, or simply taking time to appreciate the beauty in everyday moments, there's so much to look forward to. In the end, I've come to see aging as a gift, not one without challenges, but one full of opportunities to reflect, connect, and thrive. This chapter of life may be different, but it's no less meaningful. And the best part? The story is still yours to write. As I look back on everything I've shared, one thing is clear. Aging isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. By taking control of your health, fueling your body with the right nutrition, staying engaged mentally and socially, keeping active, and reframing aging as a time of growth and connection, you can thrive in this chapter of life. The choices we make today shape the quality of our tomorrow. Aging gracefully isn't about fighting the inevitable. It's about living intentionally and finding joy in each moment. Let's make these years vibrant, meaningful, and full of life. The best is still ahead.